Becky Green here to share with you an amazing tool for formative assessments throughout your lesson cycle called Socrative. Obviously, the first thing you're going to want to do is get an account. Since I already have one, I'm going to go up here to Teacher Login. You'll also note that there's a separate button for Student Login. In order to log in, you can use either an email of your choice or you can sign in with your Google account. And once you do, this will be the home page. The first thing that you're going to want to do after you've set up your account is to go to Rooms and click the little pencil to edit your room name. It will automatically default to a random series of letters and numbers. You're going to want to make your room name something that's easy for students to type in and remember, because this is how they will be accessing your assessments. So now that I have my room name set, the next step is to make a quiz, because no matter if you are launching a quiz, the space race game, or an exit ticket or quick question, you're loading all of those assessment questions in under this quizzes tab. So I already have one created called box plots that I could click on and edit, or I can just create a new quiz up here with the add quiz button. So let's just title this one Sample Quiz. You can align to the standards. The TEKs are already available here, where you can just click on the standard you want, and then you can add a multiple choice, true, false, or short answer question. So I'm going to start with a multiple choice and ask, what is the purpose of Socrative? Just as a sample question here. You'll notice that I could upload an image if I chose to do so, and after I have my multiple choice answers typed in, I want to make sure that I click on the one that's correct. It also has a spot for an explanation, so that after students have picked their choice and submitted it, it does tell them what the correct answer is that you checked, and you can write an explanation of why that's the correct answer. True, false. So a true, false question. And again, make sure you put the correct answer. And there's also a short answer. And you can add the answers if you choose to for the short answer, or you can wait, and when you actually run your report, you can see them and grade them yourself. So once I have my questions imported into a quiz, I'm going to go ahead and save and exit. And then I can launch my quiz. So we have where we can pick the quiz to launch as a quiz. And if I were to do my sample quiz, I can choose whether I want instant feedback, open navigation, or teacher paced. That's where you release the questions throughout the lesson cycle where you need them. And then you want to make sure that you also look at the toggles and make sure that they're meeting your needs. It's great that it is so editable and open-ended that you can just do wonderful things with it. I, of course, always require student names for things like exit tickets, but if it was something, just a quick assessment to see, are my kids as a whole getting this, or if I wanted to project results on the screen, I would put this toggle over to where names weren't required. You can shuffle the questions, the answers. I think showing the feedback is very beneficial. And then you can show their final score, and if you want them to have more than one attempt. And then, of course, we would click Start so that students could log in and access this quiz. Another way to utilize those questions that you imported is as an exit ticket or through Space Race. So I'm going to go ahead and launch a Space Race game now with my sample quiz. And you can pick the number of teams. You can pick what icons you want them to have. And then same thing with the toggles. So I'm going to start this so that you can see here is my teacher view, which is really neat to project for students so they can see which team's winning as they answer questions. And I'm going to go ahead and switch over and sign in as a student in that name. So if you recall, I set my room name to Green 18, which shows up here for me. So when I go to that student login button, I'm just going to type Green 18. Let's make sure I put a space there. Click join. And now this person, this student, oh, it might have me logged in as a teacher still. Let's try it again. Student login, 18. All right, here's where I'm going to enter my name. So I'm going to go ahead and pretend that I am Kiza here, and here are my questions. So I'm on the blue team. The purpose is as an assessment tool. Notice this is where it shows the correct answer for them, and if you had typed an explanation, it would be there as well. Of course, Mrs. Green is the best ever. True. How could I use this in the classroom? As an exit ticket to know who needs reteach. So now that I've completed the activity, you'll notice here the blue has finished. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this from the teacher view and now show you about reports. Now that we have seen how to create a quiz, how to launch a quiz, and the student's view of it, the last thing that you're going to want is obviously to see those results so that it can help guide instruction. So you'll see here you have options that you can email it to yourself, you can download it, or you can add it to your Google Drive if you had logged in under your Google. There's also the whole class Excel sheet, an individual student PDF, which is wonderful for printing off and giving to students so they can see their progress, and then question-specific PDF. So I'm going to leave it on whole class Excel. And let's download it. Apparently I need to log back in. And now that I'm logged back in, go over here to reports. Oh, it's not, it does thinks I'm not finished. So we're going to try this again. And right here, you'll see that it downloaded that report. So when I open the report, I can see that Kiza here prints my whole question, so it's kind of a large. Got a 100%. Okay. Another way, well, I'll close that so we can't tell now, is that you can see your results live. So it's really neat to be able to have this tool to assess students through the interactive game like Space Race, through quick questions throughout your lesson cycle. You can use it as an assessment, a full quiz, or an exit ticket for on their way out the door. The other neat thing about this is there's also a way for students to raise their hand. And because I don't have any students logged on at this time, I was going to pop over to the help button on the Socrative homepage, just because they've screenshotted what that looks like. So when you have your results, and this is the real-time results pulled up, and you click over here, you can enable raise hand, and you can see if a student's having trouble with this, they can raise their hand. So they'll just click on their name in the top right, click raise hand, and the teacher's able to see who raised their hand because it'll appear orange here. and they know who needs help. So once they've assisted the student, they're also going to be able to lower hand. And I think that's really neat. So students can let you know when they need help and when they don't understand something in a way that doesn't necessarily draw attention to them, or they don't feel like they're the only one who doesn't get it. They can just do it electronically, and you can walk over and help them. And other students don't know if they ask for that help or if you're just walking around monitoring. It's a great tool as well. So I am looking forward to learning more about Socrative and ways to incorporate it into my classroom. I'd love to hear your feedback as well. I think it is a wonderful tool so we can assess where students are and use that to help guide our instruction. Thank you very much.